the length, its length was 10 meter and the width was 6 meter. There is the study hall.
Et la bibliothèque.
And was the library a separate building, or was it a same building used for several purposes?
It was with the study hall. It was the same building.
And if you followed the wall of the monastery, in particular on the east side, was it possible to see this building through the fence?
Yes. We could see from the east. We could see from the east.
Et comment était
What was the fence like? The fence that surrounded the Ksak Pagoda back in 1978. How can you describe it? What materials was this fence built out of?
The fence was made of wood, but the fence now is made of concrete.
Can you tell us what happened at Ksak Pagoda in 1978, and in particular if executions occurred there?
In 1978, there were the execution of ethnic Vietnamese, including Takut.
Earlier we were speaking about Chanta, and we spoke about Chak Takut and about his wife, and we also spoke about Chum Kia Hong, as well as about other members of their family. So do you know if all of these people died at Waksak or elsewhere?
Takut was killed at a different site, but Chanta was killed at Wat Ksak or Ksak Pagoda. Takut and Yehai were executed at Andong Nuon in Cho village.
l'interprète n'a pas saisi?
The interpreter did not hear the entire name. Was that the village of Chok, Chork, and a place called Vandam Andong Noon?
President witness, please observe the microphone. Witness, the Andong Noon area is located in Cho village.
Très bien. Alors on va essayer de reprendre.
Very well. We will go through those events and executions in Sak Pagoda. We'll talk about what happened to Takut and his spouse. How many months approximately prior to the arrival of the Vietnamese were these executions committed at Sak Pagoda, that is executions of persons of Vietnamese origin.
It was about 1 month. It was 1 month after the killing of those people at outside the pagoda. Then the Vietnamese troops arrived. However, the Kut was killed later on when he was dragged to be killed in that Dong Noon area.
En réalité, devant les...
As a matter of fact, before the co-investigating judges investigators, document E3/7685 in page 3 in all 3 languages, you said that it was 3 months prior to the liberation of 1979, which means that it was in August 1978. Was that 1 month before or 5 months before? Do you remember?
I cannot recall it clearly how many months it was.
Peut-être pourriez-vous nous dire si c'était...
However, the killing took place in 1978, though I cannot recall how many months before. President, witness, please listen to the question before you respond. You should listen and understand the question first before you proceed with your response, and limit your response only to the question rather than make a lengthy response.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le témoin, pour vous aider...
Thank you, Mr. President. Witness, if this may jog your memory, perhaps you should tell us whether it was during the rainy season or during the dry season. Was it at a time when rice was being transplanted or when it was being harvested? Perhaps such details would help you to remember the time frame when those events occurred.
It happened after the harvest season ended.
Savez-vous pourquoi?
Do you know why, or did you ever hear Khmer Rouge card? Explain why those persons of Vietnamese origin were assembled and executed at the Sak Pagoda.
I myself did not know the reasons for the killing.
Est-ce que vous n'avez jamais entendu que...
Did you never hear anyone say that the Vietnamese were the enemies of the revolution?
President, the witness, please hold on. And Council Corporate, you have the floor.
I object to this question because I have no idea what the source for this question is. There are indeed documents, revolutionary flags, but they all, including Pol Pot's speech, for instance, speak about Vietnam as the enemy. As a matter of fact, in his last interview with Elizabeth Becker, Pol Pot goes at length to make a distinction between, on the one hand, the Yoon, who he always refers to as the Vietnamese communists or the Vietnamese government, and the Vietnamese people. So saying that the Vietnamese as such is the enemy of decay is without any source.
Je ne suis pas sûr qu'on ait besoin de...
I am not sure we need a history lecture from the defense. The question was very simple. May I ask it again, Mr. President? Witness, did you ever hear anyone say while you were in the village, persons who are officials say that people of Vietnamese origin were considered as the enemies of the revolution?
No, I did not hear that.
Vous avez parlé de familles.
You talked of families of Vietnamese origin assembled at the pagoda and then subsequently executed. Do you know how those persons were brought to that location or assembled at that location? What were they told as they tried to convince them to leave their work in their homes to assemble at the Ksak pagoda? Did you hear anything of the sort on that subject?
Only selected people were called, and they themselves went to select those people. I refer to the group of the village chief who went to make the selection of those people.
How to read.
And they were told to go and attend study sessions.
Et ce tri, comme vous dites, le tri qui a été fait, qui était choisi pour être amené à la pagode et qui ne l'était pas?
Regarding the sorting out of the persons, you've referred to who were those selected to go to the pagoda and who were those who were not selected.
I did not know about the selection process.
Dans votre village, est-ce que...
In your village, were the only families or persons who were led to the Sak pagoda the persons you mentioned a while ago, that is Chanta and the families of Chun, Theo and Han? In other words, were there any other families from the Ying village that were led to the Sak pagoda for execution?
There were only two families. That is one of a Chum family, and the other one was of a Chanta's family.
Est-ce que vous savez comment...
Do you know how those families of Vietnamese origin were conveyed to the pagoda? I'm talking of the Chanta family and the Chun family, as well as other persons who may have gone there on the same day. Did you see them pass by through the village on their way to the pagoda?
I didn't witness them being walked to the pagoda.
Est-ce que ce jour-là, vous saviez...
On that day, even though you may not have seen them pass by, were you aware that those persons had been assembled at the Ksak pagoda?
I knew about it, but I did not know what they were going to do to them.
Et à votre connaissance,
And to your knowledge, was it only the two families you've referred to, or other persons?
There were also other people who were brought in from Gold Crown and other areas.
មកចំណោមនៅ
Amongst those who were brought in, one was alive. However, I cannot recall her name, and she was asked about her origin, and she said she was Chinese. President, it is now convenient to take a short break. We take a break now and resume at 10:30. Court officer, please assist the witness during the break time at the waiting room reserved for witnesses and the civil parties, and invite him back into the courtroom at 10:30. The court is now in recess.